Welcome. My name is Jennifer Raye, and in this video I'm going to discuss the Yin Yoga posture of Butterfly Pose. So Butterfly Pose is one of the more accessible forward folds that we have within the Yin Yoga style. It helps to open the inner leg, which is where the liver and kidney channels run, as well as the outer hip, where the gallbladder channel runs. And then if you're folding forward, it also helps to target the lower back and the spinal column, where the urinary bladder channel runs. So watch the video to learn more. Butterfly Pose is one of the more accessible forward folds that we have in the Yin Yoga practice. It helps us to get a stretch in the lower back even if we have tight hamstrings. It's also a great forward fold for yogis that are pregnant due to the space around the belly. So to begin, we bring the feet together and the knees wide apart, creating a nice wide diamond shape. Now this is quite different than an active practice where we really pull the heels in towards the groin. In this system, we want to have the feet further out in front of us. If we were to fold forward, the forehead would be resting on the inner arches of the feet, around there. This helps to bring the stretch not only into the inner leg, where the adductors lie and the kidney and liver channels lie, but also helps to bring the stretch and the opening into the outer hips, where the gallbladder channel runs. So from here, as I fold forward, I want to encourage a forward tilt of the pelvic bowl. So this would be considered an anterior tilt. As I tilt forward, I can keep the spine upright, and in this case then most of the activation and the triggering in the tissues is happening in the legs and the hips. And if I start to round forward, then I start to bring the opening and the stretch into the lower back and the ligaments that run along either side of the spine, where the urinary bladder channel runs. So you would keep the spine upright if you know that you already tend to round forward quite a bit. And instead you're working to create better posture by broadening across the collarbones. But if you'd like to bring the opening into the back body, then you can round forward and drop the head. Some yogis enjoy just letting the head drop and letting the head hang. This brings the stretch and the opening more into the ligaments of the neck. But others find this very triggering, and it seems to create a kind of congestion in the neck spine. Especially if you have a history of whiplash or other neck injury, you may want to support the head. So as you fold forward, you could support the head with the hands, like so. You could use a bolster out in front of you, resting the head on the bolster or on a block, like so. Okay, now other variations and options to consider: if you're working with any kind of knee injury or hamstring injury, you may want to support underneath the knees and the legs. So in that case, I would take a few folded blankets and support like so under the legs, like so, or on the side this way. Okay, and I could do that on both sides. So, and then from there you start to fold forward until you reach a place where you feel some targeting in the tissues, but never anything that feels like pain. So just a place where you can start to work with gentle sensation and a gentle opening in the tissues. Now, as I mentioned, you are looking for a forward tilt of the pelvis. So as with all of our forward fold movements, we want to encourage the forward tilt of the pelvis in order to really support mostly the lower back. If we start to round the pelvis back this way, probably due to tight adductors or hamstrings, this will create strain in the lower back over time. This is oftentimes the kind of movement that we're doing when we're sitting on our couches and in our cars. And so oftentimes in the yoga practice, we're trying to initiate the opposite movement, which is the forward tilt of the pelvis. Now, in order to encourage this forward tilt, you could sit up on something like I am. You are also welcome to come right down to the floor if you can get that forward tilt this way. So experiment with what works for your body. If you do have some history of injury in the spinal column, especially in the lower back, if forward folding is not available for your body, you can also take a similar variation here on your back. So in that case, you come down onto your back and then you draw your feet in towards your chest this way. You grab the outsides of the feet and then you either draw the heels down towards the sitting bones or gently up towards the face. So notice how this is the same shape. We're really working the opening in the legs, but there's no pressure in the lower back. So this could be a healthy variation for you to take. Now, you may want to take this for a little bit less time, considering there's more pulling action that's happening. So you'll need to gauge your time from there. Okay, and then another option I wanted to offer today was to take the posture against the wall. And so if you're taking that posture, you would just come to lie on your back, you bring the legs right up the wall, and then you take the same shape, the butterfly shape this way. So I scoot over and then I draw my legs up the wall and I bring my feet together and knees apart, arms out to the side. So once again, I'm targeting the legs and the hips without so much targeting in the back or the lower back, especially the spinal column. A few variations when you're coming out of the posture to consider. The first option, as you roll yourself up from the forward fold, is to simply place the palms of the hands on the outsides of the knees and draw the legs together. And then rest back on your hands, dropping knees to one side and then the other. You could also just bring the legs all the way together and then extend the feet out in front of you. Lift the chest up, take a deep breath. This is especially true if you've been rounding forward and dropping the head, so encourage some breath back into the front of the body. Okay, so I hope that helps you to practice butterfly pose. Be sure to get over to jenniferraye.com and sign up for my mailing list. That way I can keep sending you practice tips and suggestions. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day.